Yeah, welcome to the screencast for the Eclipse project on Eclipse-based traceability and requirements engineering. I will explain and demo a solution for Eclipse-based traceability that we are developing within the European ETA2 supported research project VERDE. Eclipse part in this project is to provide an Eclipse-based traceability solution, and the architecture of this solution is as follows. We are implementing a basic data store that is capable of linking so-called trace points. Those trace points represent any artifact that you would like to trace. So an artifact could be an UML model element, it could be part of a text file, it could be a requirement or even a Word document. Based on this traceability data store, there is an application framework on top that provides the general user interface and the application interface. And our approach is not to hard code any traceability or the models that we want to trace, but to use the Eclipse flexibility and to provide a model for plugging in your own so-called trace point providers, which actually know about the target models and are capable of returning a so-called trace point from any of the target artifacts. So possible trace point providers that we have right now are source code. We have a trace point provider for AutoSAR. We are connecting to UML models and Papyrus models. And within VERDE, we have also implemented an Eclipse-based implementation of the RIF requirements interchange format, which we are using to represent requirements. And in this part we are cooperating with the ProR project, which is a research project too. And this project has provided a nice user interface for requirements, which we are using on top of the Eclipse provided requirements meta model. And with this architecture we are able to provide a flexible framework for requirements traceability within Eclipse. So in the tool, this looks like the following. We see at the start the ProR based RIF editor that uses the Eclipse meta model for requirements. I will not go into details of the editor, but you can see that it is here a tree based editor for the requirements, and we will show how to trace these requirements to an AutoSAR model. So we change to the RTOP perspective for the AutoSAR model, and you see that we have the AutoSAR XML, and for simplicity this contains only one package with one software component, the steering wheel. So to trace, we could either start from here, but we will start from the requirements. When we go to the requirements editor, maybe change back to the ProR perspective, you see the editing facility, and the traceability provides a new view, which is the trace selection view. And when we select a requirement, you will see that you see here the data for the source requirements, and the plugins for the trace point providers extract the unique IDs from the objects that we select in any of those editors, so that the traceability can be established. And once we decided on which requirement we would like to trace, we can fix this as the source requirement, and you will see now that whenever we select a new element, the destination, the target trace point, will change. Now, since I'm staying in the same editor, this is the traceability, could be the traceability for requirements to requirements, but we want to show the traceability to RTOP. So I'm switching back to the RTOP perspective, going to the AutoSAR model, and now when I select the steering wheel component, you see that the destination element is shown here, and you can also see that different models have a different way of representing their model elements, which is compatible to the way the traceability does. So the editor for the requirements provides a unique ID for the model elements, while the editor for AutoSAR RTOP returns a path to identify the model element. And we can define a type, which right now is still a string. We will change that in the future and save the traceability. And in this connector view, we see a list of all traced elements, which then can be used to trace and go back to the elements. The possible reports and extensions that we will provide will be part of a following screencast.